Thank you. Good morning. So please rise as we join together in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We are thrilled that our own PUSD students are here to share their talents. So please welcome the Eliot Middle School Jazz Combo and Vocal Ensemble as they lead us in America the Beautiful. Aren't they great? That was a question. Aren't they great? Yeah. Please be seated. They'll be back later in our program. So just a bit of housekeeping. The restrooms are at the end of the stage here to my left, behind the curtain. And there are cards on your table to fill out. One of them is an informational card for us at Friends Indeed, and the other is a mayor's comment card. Please fill both of them out. You can leave them on your table. And please use social media. This is a place where I can say, don't turn off your cell phones. Turn them on, don't talk on them, but take pictures, post about our event so we can spread what's happening here. The hashtag is Pasadena Prayer Breakfast. So now it's my pleasure to call upon Reverend Marlene Pomeroy of the First Congregational Church to offer our invocation.
Please be in prayer with me. Holy and Ancient One, in a moment of quiet and stillness, we gather as a community of people who represent many different traditions and beliefs. On this morning, we come together honoring each of our beautiful beliefs and traditions, and gathered as a body of people united in caring deeply about the city of Pasadena. We gather with a common desire to work for peace and to advocate for compassionate care for all the people in our city. Still our minds, open our hearts to be receptive to one another this morning. Help us connect with old friends as well as meet new ones around our tables. Allow us to recommit ourselves to providing a city that cares for all of its people. We give you thanks for the city of Pasadena, its grand history, educational centers, houses of worship, green spaces, policies, outreach services, and businesses that reflect the richness of who we are. Help us continue to not just be a beautiful city, but a city with a beautiful heart. We give you thanks this morning for our mayor, Mr. Terry Tornek, for our speaker, Mr. John Kobara. Instill them with the power to move us to action on behalf of others. Help us leave this place inspired to do more, give more, and speak up more, so all will experience the abundance within our city. We give thanks today for all of our blessings. Amen.
Amen. So I'm privileged to work with an amazing board and a great leader. I invite our board chair, Richard Chung, who has worked very hard on this event, to welcome you this morning to our breakfast.
Buenos dias. Buongiorno. 早上好. And good morning, Pasadena. I want to welcome you to the 44th annual Pasadena Mayor's Interfaith Prayer Breakfast. It is a great day to live, work, and play in the city of Pasadena. We live in a community that celebrates diversity, acceptance, and the inclusion of all faiths, gender, sexual orientation, and the multitude of cultural crossroads of citizens and immigrants. We truly love our neighbors. Once again, Friends Indeed is honored to host this amazing community event. Our agency of over a century is reflective of the core values of our city, protecting and serving our most vulnerable neighbors with dignity and respect. I want to thank you for your support in impacting positively to our local community. This event would not be possible if it weren't for a few individuals this morning. Our event chair, Cynthia Cohn, has just done a fabulous job. Cynthia, where are you? Can you stand? Give Cynthia a huge round of applause. Rhonda Stone, the mayor's liaison, for everything she does to make this breakfast possible. Where are you, Rhonda? I saw you. Thank you, Rhonda. And then thank you to all our sponsors, especially our premium supporters, Determinant of Roses and the City of Pasadena. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, thanks to all the sponsors for your financial support that allows us to offset this event and keep the ticket prices affordable. This morning, I'd like to acknowledge a few of our state officials who unfortunately are not able to be here, but their field representatives are here. Could you please hold your applause until I finish recognizing them? And please stand as I call your office. I believe we have a representative from Congresswoman Judy Chu. Where are you? Stay. Representative from Assemblyman Chris Holden. Representative from State Senator Anthony Portantino. And then Supervisor Catherine Barger. All those reps, give them a round of applause, please. Thank you again for coming to this year's breakfast, and I hope you enjoy the fellowship amongst your neighbors. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Pasadena's favorite rabbi, Joshua Levine Grader.
I told him he has to stop saying that. So I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some of our local officials and dignitaries, and please stand when I say your name and remain standing, and we will applaud and honor you at the end. We welcome a former Pasadena Mayor, Bill Bogard. That instruction never works. Pasadena Council Liaison, City Manager Steve Mermel, along with many of our city department directors, please stand, including our Assistant City Manager, Julie Gutierrez, Fire Chief Washington. We have Police Chief Philip Sanchez, Department of Water and Power, well represented under the leadership of Mr. Bawa. We have school board members, and in particular, the newly elected president of PUSD, Roy Bogorgian. We also have Vice Mayor, newly elected Kennedy, and Councilman Tyrone Hampton. Thank you so much. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our Friends Indeed staff, particularly for this morning, Marty Campolo and Madison Ortega, Reverend Donna Byrns, Tim Nisler, and all of our volunteers who came yesterday and very early this morning to help make this event possible and this room beautiful. So please thank all of them. It's my pleasure now to introduce my friend and the mayor of Pasadena, Terry Tornick. Mayor Tornick's been a strong support of Friends Indeed, and hosting the breakfast now for our 5th year has truly helped elevate FID's stature and name recognition in the community. We are most appreciative of the mayor's support, so please welcome our mayor, Terry Tornick.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the hockey rink. This is the space, folks. I don't know if you remember. Thank you for the kind introduction. This favorite rabbi thing, I would just say that maybe it's a secret. There aren't that many rabbis in Pasadena.
There's another one right over there.
But we love them all. I'm honored to join you this morning and delighted to extend a cordial welcome to all gathered here to commemorate the National Day of Prayer. This event has a 65-year history nationally and 44 years here in Pasadena. This year, again, I want to recognize Dolores Higginbottom, who was instrumental in organizing the first prayer breakfast and has faithfully attended this event for 44 years. She has a better record than any mayor or president. The purpose of the annual Pasadena Mayor's Interfaith Prayer Breakfast, which is getting to be a little bit of a mouthful, is to gather the community on or near the National Day of Prayer with its civic, business, religious, and educational leaders under a faith-based umbrella to seek spiritual guidance and blessing for our city and its people. Coming together for fellowship and prayer, a kind of community-wide meditation designed to help us renew our commitment to peace, to economic and social justice, to civil liberties, and to our environment and human rights, is clearly a worthy idea, particularly in today's unhappily contentious environment. Our task this morning is to focus our city's strengths to face sometimes daunting challenges. And Pasadena's strengths are many. Our diversity and the honest debate that it engenders, the energy of our many nonprofit organizations and their volunteers, the ingenuity of our businesses, the intellectual capacity of our institutions, and of course the power of our faith-based community. Combining all of these, and all of you are here today, there is no challenge too great for us to face if we face them together. I must also offer a special thanks to Friends Indeed for their extraordinary work in our community, serving our most vulnerable residents, and for organizing this event under the leadership of Rabbi Josh, the board of directors led by Richard Chung and the staff, the event chair who's already been recognized, Cynthia Cohn, and of course, Donna Byrns, as well as my bride, Maria Tornick. I also want to acknowledge the long history of Pasadena media's great coverage of this event. I'm sure you've noticed the strong presence of PUSD this morning, from the Eliot Jazz Combo, the centerpieces at your tables done by the Norma Coombs Elementary School, and the floral arrangements from your ranch. Thanks to the committee of community members who give generously of their time and talent to help organize this breakfast, and again to my tireless assistant, Rhonda Stone. It's also wonderful to see so many friends and faith leaders included in the program this morning, and please join me in giving them a warm round of applause. Thank you very much.
And now Reverend Pomeroy will come forward and leading us in a blessing over our food.
Let us pray together. We offer our deepest thanks for the food and company around our tables. Help the food nourish our bodies. Allow our conversation to make a mark on our hearts. Let our actions be a source of hope for all who are not at the table but who are in need. We offer our gratitude for the meal before us, and we pray that love, kindness, and a gentle spirit may always guide our words and actions. Amen.
Amen. So I hope everyone will enjoy their breakfast and engage in conversation, fill out those cards, take some selfies, and get to know your neighbors. Enjoy your breakfast. We'll be back after breakfast with the rest of the program.
Homeless, it's like you're out there and you're an outcast. You're a subculture. You are not comfortable in your own skin because, well, for me, I don't like being dirty. And I don't like sleeping in the dirt. And, when that's all you have to do, that's what you got to do. And, then you got to sneak somewhere to wash your hair in freezing cold water from somebody's spigot. And it's a lot of really rough things out there that people don't understand. I didn't know what would happen if I slept a lot. I didn't want my family to have to come down and identify my body. That's a scary reality that's out there.
No matter how the economy does, good or bad, there always will be poor people and there'll always be homeless people. It's just a function of how many. And so we are one of those agencies that are very compassionate. We provide dignity for our clients, and the need continues. And Friends Indeed is proud to be one of those agencies that can contribute to helping those people.
The Women's Room offers a place for women who are alone, who are at risk, who may be living on the streets. They may be in some kind of temporary housing that gives them an opportunity to escape all these other pressures, all these other troubles, and just sit in a quiet place with other women who are facing the same kind of struggles. They're able to come here, take a shower, launder their clothes, all the things that are huge challenges for most people living on the streets. We can offer this opportunity just by opening the door.
I believe that a homeless female is the most vulnerable out in the street. So going into the women's room is sort of like a sanctuary where they feel comfortable taking a shower knowing that no one's gonna barge in. So knowing that at least during the hours that we're operating, they're able to use something that we take for granted.
Before I was housed, I was alone, I was suicidal, I was afraid. The women's room took me to a new kind of lifestyle that I would have never found on my own. So it gave me a chance to re-enter my community. And today I'm very strong in my community. I love my community. I would do anything for the city of Pasadena.
One of the key programs, and it was really, I think, our initial mission program, is our food pantry. And our food pantry serves very low-income families and individuals as well as the homeless population.
For the most part, what we're seeing is an increase in people. The number of people representing the household seems to level out, but the number of households coming keeps going up.
What's unique about Friends Indeed Food Pantry is that when our people come, they're not just handed a bag of groceries. They have the privilege of coming in and shopping. Our area is set up like a grocery store, so that people can select the kind of food that they like to eat, food that their children will enjoy. And also, we really want to elevate the sense of dignity and respect. And so when they come in, they're just like a shopper at any one of their local grocery stores.
Hunger is stupid. And we could sit here and have conversation about hunger globally, but we shouldn't have this conversation about hunger in the United States. There's just no reason for it. It's ridiculous with the amount of food that we have. No one in 6, 1 in 7 people should not go to bed in a state of food insecurity.
The Bad Weather Shelter is a place where somebody is experiencing homelessness for a long time or for the night can come and find a warm bed, a warm meal, and some safety for the night. In working at the Bad Weather Shelter, the joy of seeing somebody take the next step, moving into an apartment, or just moving into a sober living, or into Union Station, and taking the next steps, and then coming back to actually volunteer to help out at the shelter is just heartwarming.
Norma's Nook was envisioned as fulfilling the need of women who were going on housing interviews, going on job interviews, parent-teacher conferences, church, anything that might come up in their lives. And that's what we started as, but it soon became really apparent to us that there was a different need, and that's when women are on the street, they often have their possessions stolen. So they have a big need for more basic clothing items that you wouldn't wear to an interview, things like t-shirts, jeans, tennis shoes, rather than heels, skirts, and blazers. So Norma's Nook is trying to cover these two basic clothing needs of women that we see every week at Friends Indeed.
When you're dealing with homeless people, one of the key issues is not letting them get homeless. So we have a homeless prevention program where we work with families and individuals that are on the verge of being evicted. We sign them up for the food pantry and we teach them basic economics, how to avoid getting into that situation.
The volunteers at Friends Indeed are like none I've ever seen. Their commitment, their consistency, their longevity. We have volunteers that have been volunteering there in one capacity or another for, I think, 33 years is one of our longest volunteers. I see these volunteers come in week after week after week to give their time in the pantry and in the women's room, and I know at the emergency shelter during the winter time. It's amazing how committed they are to this is the time I'm supposed to be there, and how much they love these women, how much they want to see good things happen for these women.
So all together as a community with those in the faith-based community, in our congregations, in our business partnerships, in our political partnerships, our civic partnerships with all the volunteers, together we're going to be able to bring more services to our community and together bring more dignity and love and compassion to those who most need it.
Before I know Friends Indeed, every day I say, please God, take me with you. I don't want this life anymore. I don't want to live it like this. Please take me with you. But when I know Friends Indeed, when I start go there, I don't want to die now. Oh, no. Now I say, thanks God, because one more day life.
So we hope everyone enjoyed their breakfast, and I want to give some appreciation to the staff and who are serving you today, and the staff of the Convention Center who've been here very early this morning. Thank you. So Friends Indeed was founded in 1894 by the local churches, and since then it has had many different iterations and names, but the mission and the vision have always been the same: helping the most vulnerable and at-risk members of our community. You just learned about all of our amazing programs in our brand new video that was just debuted this morning. You're the first people to see it. And I want to give special thanks again to an amazing nonprofit, Jericho Road, whose head, Melanie Goodyear, is here. I want Melody to stand up so you know this amazing nonprofit that does work, because she connected us with the filmmakers, Chris and Jim Sanders of Real Ideas, and they donated their time and their talents and their energies to make this video for us. Absolutely donated. So we are so grateful. And if you don't know Jericho Road, they can give you great free volunteers too, so you should know them. So we are a faith-based, volunteer-driven organization, and we're poised to grow and expand our scope in Pasadena, partnering with the other agencies with whom we work so closely. If you've not done so already, I invite you to come and visit us, to take a tour, to volunteer, to invite me to your congregation or your business or your organization to present about our work and to help fulfill our motto, doing together what we cannot do alone. And we want to thank Mayor Tornick for his ongoing support of Friends Indeed and the continued partnership to host this important event. And this year, we thank the mayor for encouraging us to make this a chance for a little small fundraiser for Friends Indeed. And so we set a goal of $10,000. And thanks to many of you, we've begun towards that goal through your generosity. But to give you perspective, if everyone here gave $20, we'd meet our goal and more. So if your heart is so moved, things are on the table for you to look at. So please welcome back now our Eliot Arts Jazz Combo and Vocal Ensemble.
You know, young people really don't understand clapping anymore. So could you give them one more? But we're going to raise the roof for them. It gives me great pleasure to introduce John Cabrera, our keynote speaker for this year's breakfast. During the day, John serves as the COO and Executive Vice President for the California Community Foundation. Sarah, his wife, and family were longtime residents of Pasadena before settling in South Pass. John and Sarah are no strangers to the nonprofit world in the city of Pasadena. Every Tuesday, the two make breakfast at Union Station Family Center, and in John's spare time, he's a writer and an aspiring poet. I first met John at a board meeting with another nonprofit that I serve on. He too was our guest speaker. Within minutes of his talk, I knew John would be a wonderful choice for this morning's Mayor's Interfaith Prayer Breakfast. John is kind, compassionate, and has a warm heart. He is well respected amongst his peers. He will inspire you to be a better person and for our community. And if we're lucky, we may get a sampling of his poetry. Please join me in a warm Pasadena welcome, John Cabrera.
Thank you, Richard, for that warm welcome, and I'm humbled and grateful to be here. Let's hear it for Friends Indeed, to Richard Chung and the staff and board. Beautiful video. And thank you, Mayor Tornick, for the invitation and for your leadership. And thank all of you for getting up early and being here out of your precious schedules to be in unity and community. And my job is really to be just a little bit of a catalyst, perhaps, to be a wake-up call, maybe a little verbal caffeine to stir up some stuff that you already know is inside of you, that you already know about. I want to shift your perspective just in a couple of minutes. That's my job today. But isn't it nice just to pause from the speed of life, just to reflect for a minute and to breathe? Let's do what my mother would do, which is, we're going to breathe together, which is we're going to breathe in the mountain and breathe out flowers. That's what my mother would say. I think about my family at times like this. My wife Sarah's here, and my daughter Jenna, and my son Bobby, my daughter Malia in New York. I think about my friends and family that allow me to do so much, and I'm so grateful to them. I think about my grandparents that came across the ocean to make a better life here, and just with a dream of a better tomorrow. And they worked on the railroads and the farms in the San Joaquin Valley. I think about my parents, Rod and Tommy Cabrera, both of whom I lost in the last 18 months. And they lived very full lives, and they taught me a lot, and I'm very grateful to them. 75 years ago this week is when the buses rolled up and picked up my parents and their families in Northern California and brought them to concentration camps in Poston, Arizona. And as a result of Executive Order 9066, which Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed and declared that all citizens of Japanese ancestry were enemy aliens. They spent 4 years stripped of their possessions and their rights and their opportunities, and emerged somewhat ironically out of that process, out of those camps, with the hope that they could prove that they belonged in this country, that they were good Americans. And I am grateful for the sacrifices that they've made for me to be here. But I am even more inspired and grateful for the sacrifices that all of our families and ancestors have made for us to be here this morning and to be able to think and breathe together. I'm especially grateful to the Japanese American community because they bonded with the American Muslim community after 9/11 to hopefully prevent this shameful and dark part of our history from ever repeating again. I think, particularly in this time, I think all of us should support that effort. I think about, thank you. I think about Young Suk Kim, my mother-in-law I never met, who escaped from North Korea as a teenager, headed south, yearning for freedom. And she started to feed the GIs in the Korean War and do their laundry. Met a GI there and married him, came to this country to learn the language and culture, earning her bachelor's, her master's, her PhD in anthropology, and became a full college professor. Her life embodies the American dream, and she inspires me. Her memory inspires me every day. She died at the age of 48, too young, but she left a legacy to her 2 children and her 3 grandchildren she would never meet, affording them a better opportunity. That's all we want, is an opportunity. It's a chance. If we have a chance, we have an opportunity, we have hope. And when we have hope, we have everything. And we don't have that chance, we don't have that opportunity, we lose all hope. And we're all losing a little bit of hope right now. We're in the middle of an ocean of suffering, and it can be overwhelming. And we start to think to ourselves, there's only so much we can do. And every time we say that, we lose a little hope. We start to get used to it, and we start to think we're only a drop in the ocean. We start to get a little numb and disconnected from our fellow human beings. And we start to get disconnected from our own sense of humanity. Let me read you a brief excerpt from one of my poems. Comfortable? Very. Too comfortable? Perhaps. Why do you ask? Comfort is nice. Good for you, but we need to talk about what we should do. Now is a good time. Time. I have plenty of that. Choices. Plenty of those. I know what I want, but do I want what I know? Why are we here? Where are we going? What difference will we make? Endless unanswered questions. Does it matter? Aren't we comfortable? Yes, very. But we need to talk. Talk. That's what we're doing. Again. How do we comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable? How do we comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable? How do we re-embrace our sense of compassion? Because compassion comes from the root patio or patio. It means to suffer. How do we suffer with others? That's what compassion means. How do we suffer together? Mother Teresa said, if we have no peace, it's because we have forgotten we belong to one another. And we have less peace because we've forgotten quite a bit. And as we sit here very politely and calmly in this grand hall, our communities are broken. The world is in crisis. There is a lot of suffering, and the needs of others is out of control. And we can feel helpless and hopeless. And even a generous and kind group like this, like all of you, can begin to think it's impossible for me to give and do more. But I got to tell you, I am fascinated, I am energized, I am enthused when I start to think about our untapped potential, about the possibilities within each of us. Gandhi said the difference between what we are doing and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve the world's problems. Kierkegaard called it our sealed orders. The epigenetics neuroscientists are studying our unexpressed DNA. Nikki Giovanni, the poet, says, we're better than we think, but we're not quite as good as we could be. And Bonnie Ware, this researcher that's been studying people dying in hospice, found that the number one regret on people's deathbeds is, I wish I would have had the courage to live a life that was true to myself, not the one that was the expectations of others. A man named Dojin came to Japan about 800 years ago to teach Zen Buddhism. Zen Buddhism is living the full life, living the fully expressed life. They call it the supreme meal. And we have to make the supreme meal every day, every week, every month, every year of our lives. We have to take everything we have and to make the best supreme meal we can. That's our job. And the great thing is, we don't need any ingredients. We have everything we need. We live in tremendous abundance, but we fail to use all of our ingredients. No matter what your point of view is, where you sit, on what side you sit on, we all agree that the status quo is unacceptable, that the suffering around us is intolerable. I'm talking about using all of our ingredients. I'm talking about using our moral, our spiritual, our emotional, our intellectual and our financial resources. I'm talking about putting our full reputations and social networks, hearts and minds behind the changes that are necessary. I'm talking about going all in. This is an all-in moment. This is about using everything we have. My mother was a great painter. She completed 1,430 original oil paintings during her lifetime. She started at the age of 48. Not too late to start. She painted all the way to the end of her life. I begged her for years to give me an art lesson. Mom, teach me how to paint. And she would say over and over again, "Oh, John, it's so nice that you want to paint, but you're so busy and so important. At least that's what you told me. And you don't have time to paint. In fact, John, you don't even have time to see. You're so busy. And if you can't see, there is no way you can paint." And one day, my mother, in a moment of weakness, said she would give me a seeing lesson. She said it would take hours. She set up a red, green, and yellow apple in her studio and began pummeling me with questions about the negative space and the positive space and the colors and the shadows. I couldn't see these apples. A couple of hours gone by, I was exasperated. I couldn't see anything. And suddenly, the apples came into view. And my mother misquoted Cézanne at that moment. And she said, "A time is coming when apples, freshly observed, will trigger a revolution." Cézanne never said that. Cézanne said something crazier. "A time is coming when a carrot, freshly observed, will trigger a revolution." And for me, it did. I started to see myself and I started to see things around me. We don't see very much anymore. We don't listen to our hearts. We miss the peripheral vision. We start to follow the path where our feet are leading us, to the path of certainty and the path of dependency. We don't even see what's going around us right now. James Baldwin said, "The challenge is in every moment, and the time is always now." So I've been trying to shift your perspective. Think about Pasadena. Think about what we're doing together as a community. Why we're here, where we're going. We're the only species on the planet that says, what do I want to do? Who am I? No other species gets to ask that question. It's an incredible opportunity, and we have to take advantage of it. We have to unseal our orders, express our DNA, become better than we are, and have the courage to pursue a life that is true to ourselves and to others. We cannot forget our ancestors because they sacrificed so much for us to be here. How do we comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable? We need our hearts to be broken open to our interconnectedness, to our interdependency, to our abundant possibilities. And while sometimes we feel like we're just a drop in the ocean, we have to realize that we are the entire ocean in every drop. I know that what I'm asking is impossible, but in our time, as in every time, the impossible is the least that one can demand. After all, emboldened by the spectacle of human history in general and American Negro history in particular, for it testifies to nothing less than the perpetual achievement of the impossible. James Baldwin. So we pause to be together and to breathe. We breathe in the mountain, we breathe out flowers. We breathe in our power, and we breathe out kindness. So we can have peace. We need peace. Because yes, we belong to each other. We have to remember that. And once we see that, we see the potential. It triggers a revolution. And we desperately need your revolutions. We have every ingredient to make the supreme meal. We need to make that meal of hope, that revolutionary meal. So I hope you'll join Mayor Tornick, Richard Chung, Friends Indeed, and begin making and serving that supreme meal today. Thank you very much.
I want to read one little poem.
If I could just leave you with one poem, not mine, but this is my favorite poem. It's a very short poem. Richard told me I only have a little bit of time, so it's a very short poem. I go down to the shore in the morning, and depending on the hour, the waves are rolling in and moving out. And I say to myself, oh, I am miserable. What should I do? And the sea says in her lovely voice, excuse me, we have work to do. Mary Oliver, thank you.
That was pretty good, huh? So we have a small token of appreciation to John, the speaker, our featured speaker today. He has achieved what we set out to do in this morning, and that is taking a pause from all the things that we're running around doing every day and being thoughtful together about the future of our community. And I appreciate the challenge that he's posed to all of us. So on behalf of the city of Pasadena and me, I would like to present this to him and thank him.
So John, on behalf of Friends Indeed, we want to thank you for being with us this morning and inspiring us and challenging us. And we want to offer you this small token of our appreciation. Every week, our clients in the women's room have the opportunity usually to do an art project. We have some very talented artists. And so please accept this original piece of art by one of the women as a gift. She told us it was inspired by the anticipation of the women's room opening up for the day as they waited to go in the door. So thank you so much. So before we close, just want to remind you to fill out those comment cards and other things on the table, and please leave them and we'll collect them, or you can put them at the baskets in the front. And please keep posting with the hashtag Pasadena Prayer Breakfast so that we can see all your pictures and comments and tweets and everything. And so please do that. And I want to just take one moment and ask those who are on the board of Friends Indeed to please stand up. These folks worked really hard. Not all of them are here. They support our mission and work tirelessly. So now I'm pleased to bring up my friend, Reverend Donna Byrns, who was our Friends Indeed community liaison. I know many of you know Donna, and she's going to lead us through our closing prayer, which will be led by our clergy.
This morning, we come together in prayer, celebrating the diversity of faiths in our community of Pasadena. According to the Yellow Pages, there are over 2,400 congregations in Pasadena. While we don't have all of the leaders of all of these congregations with us this morning, we do have many of them, representing a great diversity of traditions. At the speakers' table this morning, we have leaders of the Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, and Muslim faiths who will lead us in a community prayer. They will be sharing statements from 14 major religions regarding compassion. The quotations will be read in alphabetical order. So I am honored at this moment to invite these spiritual leaders to the speakers, to the microphone, to lead us in this prayer. We have with us this morning Father Alan Phillip, passionate priest from Mater Dolorosa community and associate of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary Church. Also, we have Rabbi Noam Rocher, Senior Rabbi of the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. Reverend Dr. Larry E. Campbell is joining us, who is the senior pastor of the First AME Church of Pasadena. And then we have Edina Lekovic of Masjid Al-Taqwa in Pasadena. We are also blessed this morning to have with us many other spiritual leaders representing multiple faith traditions, and they will be leading all of you in a responsive. So I at this time would like to ask all other clergies, spiritual leaders of congregations and centers, to please join us up here in front of the microphone. Come on, I know some of you were out there, come on. Reverend Michael, I see you. Reverend George, come on, all of you.
She's gonna call you out.
I will call you by name if you don't hurry up. Isn't this exciting to see the diversity of our spiritual leaders? Yes. The responsive that you will all be speaking together is simply, may peace prevail on earth. It represents the unity in our diversity. Later on this year, we at Friends Indeed will be installing a peace pole with this statement in 4 different languages in the front yard of the Friends Indeed house. And we pray it reminds us all that we are one in our desire for peace and our commitment to serve with compassion. And now we will begin with Father Philip.
From the tradition of the Baha'i, it is your duty to be exceedingly kind to every human being and to wish him well, until ye change the world of man into the world of God. Let us affirm our agreement.
We want to hear all of you say that. Responsive.
From the tradition of Buddhism, have compassion for all beings, rich and poor alike. Each has their suffering. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Christianity, whatever you wish that people would do to you, do so to them. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Confucianism, try your best to treat others as you would wish to be treated yourself. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Hinduism, you need to show compassion to all living beings. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Islam, those who act kindly in this world will have kindness. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Jainism, have benevolence towards all living beings. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Judaism, the world stands upon 3 things: upon the law, upon worship, and upon showing kindness. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Native American, gentle character it is which enables the rope of life to stay unbroken in one's hand. Let us affirm our agreement.
May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Native American, this we know, all things are connected. Our God is the same God, whose compassion is equal to all. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Sikhism, I am a stranger to no one, and no one is a stranger to me. Indeed, I am a friend to all. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
From the tradition of Taoism, regard your neighbor's gain as your own gain, and your neighbor's loss as your own loss. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth. And from the tradition of Zoroastrianism, do not do unto others whatever is injurious to yourself. Let us affirm our agreement. May peace prevail on earth.
And finally, from my own tradition of New Thought, compassion and caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding. Compassion is the most gentle of all human beings. Let us close with affirming our agreement. May peace prevail on earth. And so it is. Amen.
So friends, we're so grateful for you being here and spending time with us and continuing to support our work and to support all the things that you do in the city. We're together, working together to make every corner of our city better. So just lastly, remember to leave those cards and to keep posting. And we leave you with a final song from our Eliot students who we've been so blessed to have, our own PUSD students, so talented and so dedicated. They were here at 6:30 this morning. Please spread the good feelings, positive energy. We'll see you next year, and have a great, great morning.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see.